So a Chiefs player's car got stolen from their own driveway today, roughly 6 weeks after this happened to another Chiefs player, only adding to the overall insanity of this offseason for the team. So we've got to talk about that, Travis Kelce's increased motivation upon chasing the three-peat, some quote-unquote good news, maybe, regarding Rashee Rice, and more. But first, how about those... All right, when it comes to Chiefs news, we are basically in a drought, even though the KC area is going through flash flood warnings due to so much rain today. However, there's definitely some things worth talking about. First up, there were several recent videos of Chiefs players training and gearing up for training camp, aside from one who's rehabbing a torn ACL. Cornerback Nic Jones, a Detroit native, has been working with several Lions defensive backs and training with skills trainer Ja'Cory One-Way Nichols. Chiefs punter Matt Araiza could be seen in a recent workout video booming 56 to 57-yard punts with ease, and he's a guy to watch come training camp, not because the Chiefs will be punting a ton this year, but because he won the punter battle against Ryan Rico pretty early on, and now the only thing he needs to do is continue building rapport with Harrison Butker as a placeholder. Then, defensive end Charles Omenihu shared another video of him getting stronger after ACL surgery back in February. He was also spotted at a football camp over the weekend in Texas, I believe, with retired Chiefs linebacker Derek Johnson also in attendance. By the way, the freaking legend. Omenihu told a reporter at this camp, Aaron Wilson, that recovery is a slow process, but he's been decent so far. He aims to pick things up where he left off, quote, "whenever I come back during the 2024 season." And my best guess at the moment for his return would be after the Chiefs Week 7 bye, but I'm down for whenever he gets cleared to return, even if it's earlier than that. Aside from Travis Kelce being all over social media this weekend for attending Clyde Edwards-Helaire's wedding, congrats to CEH and his bride, by the way, as well as Kingsley Suamataia got married, maybe even Brian Cook. There's a lot of people getting married right now. But after that wedding attendance, Travis Kelce then flew 5,000 miles to Dublin, Ireland to support Taylor Swift at another international concert. But before that, last week, he appeared on a couple of podcasts, Bussin with the boys, as well as his own podcast, New Heights, and there were a few takeaways from them worth sharing with you all. Travis gave a lot of credit to being able to play the way he plays, essentially free to almost do his own thing at will, to Andy Reid, basically saying it's his coaching style and creativity that unlocks Trav's full potential.
I'm not playing the position how I play it without Coach Reid and his guidance and his trust in how to go out there on the field and perform his offense, right? Yeah. There's things that I do on the field based off of what Coach Reid is telling me, what me and Pat talk about during like a route concept that we might have had during practice and stuff.
Then, of course, being on the same page with Patrick Mahomes, knowing what he's going to think based on the down, distance, and coverage shown after the snap, that is near telepathic-like. It's a telepathic-like connection between those two and makes them one of the best duos to ever play the game. That certainly helps Trav in his play as well. Then, on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast, Kelce was asked if he still has that fire to play the game, even though he's entering year 12 in the NFL. And the short answer is, he is more hungry than ever, and now that the three-peat is in their sights, something no team in the history of the game has ever been able to pull off, it fires him up to get in there and prepare for the season that much more. He has 2 more years left on his contract, and when he was asked about how many years in the tank he had left, he basically said until the end of his contract, then we will revisit.
I'm 100% doing at least the next 2. I'm at least doing that, and then we'll see what the future holds, man. I know that there's opportunities off the field, so I can't really put a number on it. I just know I got 2 years on my contract, and we'll see what happens after that.
Kelce then went on to share about how the Chiefs offense has evolved in his decade plus with the team, going from do whatever it takes to get Jamal Charles the ball to now letting Patrick Mahomes really just run the show.
It's been fun to see how the offense has grown throughout the years, because when I first came into the league, it was Jamal Charles, give Jamal the ball. Inside zone, outside zone, screen to Jamal, motion him outside, do a little slant to him. Like, it was like all focused on Jamal. Mm-hmm. And now it's like started to get to the point where it's like it's all focused on Pat and everything that he can do. And now everybody gets the ball.
And yeah, when you have the best player in the league on your own team that just happens to be a quarterback, that is a wise decision to make. Give it to Mahomes and let him distribute accordingly. That segment did throw me back in time, though, to one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game, Jamal Charles, and how I wish his timeline would have been delayed to overlap with Mahomes, because that would have been one of the greatest things to ever witness. Jamal Charles, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, all on the same offense. If only. To be fair, Kareem Hunt was quite the dynamic running back himself, and it would have been awesome to see how things panned out with him in KC if he didn't make those stupid decisions early on in his career that led to his release. On the subject of running backs, I'm going to talk about a freaking hero of a running back here in a moment. Then we're going to pivot to some potential good news regarding Rashee Rice, as well as another Chiefs player getting their car stolen today. But before I do, if you've always wanted the same audio quality you'd expect from the big guys at a way better price, then look no further than to today's sponsor, Raycon. They've sold over 4 million of their earbuds, so you know they are a fan favorite in the audio space. I personally have had their everyday earbuds for quite a while now and have enjoyed them so much that I now have their fitness earbuds as well. I've really been focusing on my physical health this year, and many of you know I recently had knee surgery as a part of that journey, so I'll be using these as I rehab back to full health while using the good old recumbent bike, going on walks, and getting my physical therapy exercises done. It really helps that they are sweat resistant with on-device touch controls, which makes them easy to use on the move. Plus, they are one of the most comfortable earbuds I've used and never fall out. And when you combine all that with their new active noise cancellation and multi-point connectivity, yes, I can now connect them to both my iPhone and MacBook Pro. That is a huge win. If you like the sound of that, then I have some good news for you. Raycon's fitness products, including their awesome fitness earbuds, are 20% off for a limited time. So to get some for yourself, click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/Chiefs to get 20% off fitness products plus free shipping on your order. Make sure to get them ASAP because this sale ends July 23rd. Next up, 41 years ago yesterday, Chiefs running back Joe Delaney made the ultimate sacrifice when he jumped into a pond in an attempt to save 3 children from drowning. Delaney was a second-round pick of the Chiefs in 1981, and despite only starting in 10 games, he rushed for over 1,100 yards, was selected as the AFC Rookie of the Year, and made the Pro Bowl. His second year was hampered by injury, and sadly, Joe never got the chance to play his third year because on June 29th, 1983, Delaney was in his home state of Louisiana at a public park, sitting alone when he saw 3 boys wade too deep into a water hole, going under and screaming for help. And there were all sorts of people around, but only Joe dashed to the pond. He told a kid nearby watching, "I can't swim good, but I've got to save those kids. If I don't come up, get somebody," then jumped in fully clothed in an attempt to rescue these boys. And one of the boys did manage to make it out safely. However, 2 others, along with Joe Delaney himself, all drowned. And at only age 24 years old, Joe left behind his wife and 3 daughters, but will always be remembered for trying to save kids that weren't his own, even though he was scared of the water himself. And this is why Joe Delaney is the true definition of a hero. This is why the Chiefs will honor his sacrifice every single year, and this is why his legacy continues through the Joe Delaney Learn to Swim program. This program offers free swim lessons to the youth, noting that drowning is the second leading cause of death of children ages 1 through 14, second only to motor vehicle crashes. This is a good reminder for all of you watching, as well as me and my family, to continue getting your kids, if you have them, familiar with the water and swim lessons if at all possible, because sadly, this could be a matter of life or death for them. And while that was a rather serious note, I couldn't go through today's episode without once again acknowledging the heroic efforts of Joe Delaney. Something else that happened today may not be as serious as what I just discussed, but it's still disappointing to hear about and something to be aware of for yourselves. Roughly 6 weeks ago, rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy got his car stolen from his apartment building in downtown KCMO. Well, another Chiefs player got their car stolen today, this time on the Kansas side of the border in the Overland Park area. The vehicle belonged to defensive back Nazeeh Johnson, who messaged me to explain the situation. Basically, his car got stolen from his driveway this morning during the thunderstorms, and some items that belonged to him were stolen as well. From what I understand, the car was locked, but the thieves got in there and were able to drive away with it. Before they even did that, though, they stole some personal items out of another one of Nazeeh's vehicles, then drove off. Thankfully, nobody was hurt during this, but it's pretty crazy to see this happen to yet another Chiefs player. A police report has been filed, and it looks like Nazeeh should be getting his vehicle back soon if he hasn't already by the time I recorded this video. But I did want to share this with Nazeeh's permission. I asked him if I could share this story because it's a personal matter not known to the public from what I understand. But Nazeeh said, go ahead and shed light on the situation because everyone needs to be aware that stuff like this can happen to anyone, even if you think it's unlikely. So stay alert out there, though in some cases, I'm not really sure what you can do if your car is locked in your driveway besides park it in your own garage, because again, Nazeeh's vehicle was locked. Things are staying crazy out here in these KC streets, that's for sure, no matter if you are on the Kansas or Missouri side of the state line. And hopefully, this is the last report we hear of a Chiefs player's car getting stolen. Now, one line NFL players will inevitably cross is the line of retirement. After all, father time waits for no man, or however the quote goes, which is why Mike Florio continues to, for some reason, stay obsessed about when Chiefs players or coaches will potentially retire. Earlier this offseason, it was the Chiefs are bracing themselves for the potential possibility of an Andy Reid retirement. Well, Andy Reid then reached a 5-year, $100 million extension with the team. So now that Big Red is locked in, I guess it's time to ask ourselves when another player is going to retire, and that is not Travis Kelce, but Patrick Mahomes. To be fair, Mahomes was in a recent Coors Light commercial in which he jokingly made a commercial that was placed in a time capsule to be released when he retires, or NFL rule changes permit active players being able to promote alcohol this way. With that being said, though, Mahomes is only 28 years young, yet Mike Florio wonders how long it'll be till he retires. Good God. I mean, his mom, Randy Mahomes, said on a recent podcast, The Mom Game, that she hears Mahomes makes comments like, if the game takes away from my kids, I might not play as long as Tom Brady. That shouldn't be a huge surprise, considering Tom Brady played till he was nearly needing to wear Depends. So, not a big deal. It's just a dry part of the offseason. But let's not get dumb over here. Mahomes is still under contract until 2031 and will most likely get a reworked deal within the next few years that could potentially lock him in even longer. Regardless, 2031 is quite a ways away, and at that time, Mahomes will be the ripe old age of 36. So there's plenty of time to get all this figured out and no need to worry about it this offseason. Something we can talk about this offseason, though, is the multi-game suspension that's coming for Rashee Rice, because there are some now speculating that Rice's suspension may not happen until next year, the 2025 season. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler spoke about the Rice situation on Saturday over the weekend, saying while a multi-game suspension is most likely coming, the NFL is likely to be patient as it sorts out the proper punishment for Rice, adding that it's possible the entire 2024 season plays out before we have a resolution. Quote, this is a lengthy legal process, which means he could start the season, actually play games, or finish the whole year because the league likes to see the full scope of things before they make a decision on how many games a player might face. Fowler then went on to say, we saw that with Alvin Kamara a couple years ago when he had his battery charges. He played the whole year, then was suspended for the next year, so that is a possibility the Chiefs are bracing for here. They just don't know. And Fowler isn't the first NFL insider to suggest this either, with Ian Rappaport saying back during the NFL draft that Rice might not be suspended at all during the 2024 NFL season while his legal process plays out. So this isn't much of an update on the Rice situation, but with another NFL insider saying this could happen next year rather than this year, that's definitely a positive for the Chiefs offense as they chase this ever-elusive three-peat. Now, to be clear, has Rice's poor choices earned himself a suspension? Absolutely. I'm just saying that if it happens to be next year rather than this year, that's probably best case scenario for KC, all things considered. But what do you guys think about this? Do you want Rice's suspension to simply get done and over with ASAP, i.e. this season, or hey, next year after they win 3 in a row would be much more ideal? Let me know either way in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?